Hello YouTube, thank you for tuning in, and today I'll be reviewing Assassin's Creed Revelations. Now, Assassin's Creed Revelations was co-produced by various Ubisoft studios around the world, and you can tell because in almost every way the game feels very much a disjointed affair, unfortunately. We all know Desmond from the way back, the first game, who is able to tap into the memories of his ancestors by using the machine that's called the Animus. Now, in this game, Desmond is trapped in this coma world, and he needs to pick up the pieces of memories of his ancestors again. Now, Desmond has never been an interesting character to begin with, and in this game, he's still boring as hell. I don't know why Ubisoft continues to use Desmond as a character in this game. They should have dropped him. You know, it's a nice idea to have somebody being able to tap into and replay the memories of his ancestors, but it was never done in a right way, in a correct way, where Desmond is actually an interesting character. But also in this game, we get to play as Ezio. Revelations continues his story years later. Ezio is now an old man and travels to Constantinople, Istanbul, the Turkish capital nowadays, in search for some keys to open the secret library of Altair, his ancestor, and the main protagonist in the first game. I give Ubisoft a lot of credits for choosing an older main character for you to play with. You don't see that very often.
Cold and lonely wind. Masyaf has not been home to the assassins for almost 300 years now. Can we still claim it for our own?
Studios usually choose younger characters and somebody who's sort of a hero type, and Ezio is really turning into an anti-hero sort of character. His story is very interesting, mix of drama, love, action, and it's handled very well. You know, he's not perfect, he makes mistakes, and I really applaud Ubisoft for using Ezio in this game. Still, Ezio doesn't really fit into the setting of Constantinople. I mean, Ezio is an Italian assassin who's in Turkey, and the whole Templar conspiracy that you will get mixed up in feels really uninteresting, mainly because there is an absence of an interesting villain. I mean, in games, if you're going to have a bad person in the game, you need to make him or her an interesting villain. Why is he a villain? You know, what are his reasons for being bad? But there's basically nobody here. Only at the end there's some bad guy. Not really a bad guy, but it's you know what I mean. It's just not engaging enough. But with every key you'll find, you'll learn also a little bit more about the fate of Altair. But Altair was never an interesting character to begin with as well. Altair was never established as an interesting character in the first game. He was sort of an errand boy. He was sent out to kill various people, and that was that. So the sections you now get to play in this game, when you play him in Revelations, these sections are very short in story and gameplay. So there is just not enough there to actually start to care for him. You know, they went a long way with this, but Altair is just not interesting for me. The game does look a little better than the predecessors, with a little bit new art style. It works really well, but the characters, Ubisoft has never been good in creating character faces, really, the faces are badly animated, and also the NPCs, they move very basic. It's just not a big step forward in the series. Most of the time is spent in Constantinople, and the city is very nicely designed and can be fully explored, no more artificial borders and stuff. But it just doesn't make an impression such as Rome, the city of Rome, in the previous game Brotherhood. The gameplay is very similar to the previous two games, Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. In third person, you free run, you climb, you jump, you zip from buildings with your new hook. I'll tell a bit about that later on. Following the storyline or take on missions from various factions throughout the city. And the controls feel very similar to the previous games. They have not been refined. There's still missed jumps. It just doesn't feel that fluent as like in Infamous 2. You know, those controls were really tight, and if you made a mistake, it was you that made a mistake. And here you still find that sort of the controls don't really register what you're doing all the time. Also, in this game you can again recruit assassins for your cause and give them missions, and they will level up, and you can call upon them if you need help in rough spots. They can also be very useful when you're destroying these Templar hideouts, these dens, and they work very similar to the Borgia towers in Brotherhood. So you kill the captain of the garrison, and then you destroy the den, in fact. So that's the way to basically reclaim the city. Once you have destroyed one of those dens, then the surrounding buildings can be upgraded, and if you do so, you'll get more money, and you can spend the money to buy better gear, weapons, and all that. There's a nice selection of weapons, some nice good upgrades for your armor. But we've seen all this before. You know, it's not new. There's almost nothing new in this game. There is the addition of the hook that will allow you to climb buildings faster and jump higher, and there's also crafting of bombs, but I really never got into that. You don't really need them. They're not essential, and I don't see the point of crafting bombs, really. The combat system is not challenging at all. You can easily kill an enemy by just waiting for them to blow at you, and then you can block and then retaliate and killing them in an instant. It's fun for a while, but after some time it sort of becomes repetitive, and again the camera just gets in the way of the action, and that's sort of getting really a nuisance, really. But there's still moments of brilliance where all the running and jumping and fighting and the kill moves all come together like a I don't know, like a flow of things, and it really works very well then. What's weird about this game is also that on the technical side, it's sort of a step back. There's stuttering, there's screen tearing, also some hefty loading times sometimes in the game. And it just doesn't feel optimized enough. It feels like, again, like a disjointed affair where there should have been somebody to iron out those things and make it as fluent as possible, but it just isn't. So as part of the series, this is the most average game in it. It doesn't hold up against these previous two. On its own merits, it's an okay game. You know, there's fun to be had here, but just not enough new stuff to do that justifies a thumbs up. So I'm not going to do that. Still liked the game. You know, it's not a bad game. It's not broken or anything like that. But it's just not brilliant. It's not just good. It's pretty average, in conclusion, right? Well, anyway, hope you liked the video. Please subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. So, thanks for watching.